He said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange. What are you driving at there? Are you a birther,
Well,
Donald?
Okay, let me just tell you, I was a really good student at the best school. I'm not like a smart guy, okay? They make these birthers into the worst idiots. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? I think he probably...
Have to?
Because I have to, and everybody else has to, Whoopi.
I'm sure
Why
that you
wouldn't
can't
he show...
his birth
Excuse me.
certificate.
Why... No, excuse me. I really believe there's a birth certificate. Why... Look, she's smiling. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. The other thing, if you go back to my first grade, my kindergarten, people remember me. Nobody from those early years.
That's not true.
We have pictures of them. What are you talking about?
Okay, show me a picture.
There are kids in Hawaii. There are people in Hawaii. There are people that he's grown
I've
up.
seen 13,
No,
but
as
I
little
haven't seen
kids.
early pictures. But more importantly, why doesn't he... And you know what? I think he probably was, but the word probably, Whoopi...
Why did he have to defend himself against...
You know why?
Against an accusation?
Because if you're going to be the president...
That there is this
Because if you're going to be the president of the United States, it says very profoundly that you have to be born in this country.
But did any other president do that today? Did George Bush not be the president?
Why would he want this
You know what I
hanging over
say?
him if it's
Probably
true?
he was.
No one has ever asked George Bush or said to George Bush, I'm sorry, is Hawaii not part of the United States?
George Bush. And I'm not saying I was a fan of George Bush.
No.
You know that better than anybody. But George Bush was born in this country. That's right.
What is isn't Hawaii still part of the United States?
Question?
Am I gone?
You
Do
know
you question
what?
whether he was or not because he hasn't come forward with it?
I grew up in New York. Wall Street was a big part. I have seen fraud, and I have seen scandal, and I have seen things that a lot of people don't see. I've seen people take a $100 bill and make it $1 million bill.
We're going to have to pause. Get to the point.
Okay, the point is, I can't rely on some newspaper that they show
In order to become president of the United States, in order to
I
get
want
a
him to
driver's
show his
license, in
birth
order to-
certificate. I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on
Okay,
that
why
birth
not, I guess.
certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's a terrible
That is
thing to
just
say.
the
Whoopi, I'm
worst
telling
thing.
you.
He was 3 pounds.
Donnie, I love you. I'm telling
I love
you.
you too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
The question is, then why not show it, right?
There's something on his birth certificate he doesn't want to show.
It's not because he's black.
Let
It's time
him
you were
show.
born,
Has
what color
nothing to
you
do with it.
are.
By the way,
Because I've
has
never heard
nothing
Any
to do
white
with it.
president asked to be shown the birth certificate.
Everybody does.
When you become a president of the United States of America,
Okay, listen.
you know that he's
Let him
American.
show
I'm
his
sorry,
birth
that's
certificate.
Are you
BS.
saying that it just only
Guys,
lets people have doubt
do you
and
want to talk
it
at all
shouldn't be
about The
there?
Apprentice?
Doesn't matter. It's doing great.
Good,
The
then we
ratings are
won't
through the
get
roof.
fired.
This is what we
But we have to pause. We'll have more of this when we come back.